What do we have here? What's this?
This is an Australian staple, Jim Beam and cola.
I've never seen this beverage.
Haven't you? I do prefer my Woodstock, but these are on sale.
Salud.
Salute.
Is this different to the little version, the can version? I've had the can version with you. Is it different?
That's Woodstock. It's the same drink. It's just a different brand.
You know, you're probably gonna get me drunk with
This
this
is-
and 2 beers that we have because I usually
You had
don't
3
drink.
beers.
Yeah, I usually don't drink, mate.
Wait until we do that episode when we're going to have like a whole bottle of Venezuelan rum and go.
Yes.
And we're going to go shot for shot.
That's not gonna
is
end
that?
up well for me.
It'll be good. Like a shot every 2 minutes or something.
Anyways,
That's a bit much.
roll the intro. How's the Good Vibe people? Welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast, The Good Vibes Theory. My name is Nelson,
My name's Matty.
and we're here to share the good vibes with the world.
Inspiring and educating people one podcast at a time.
Man, I'm really proud of you.
I'm doing better this time than ever.
I actually love it. I'm not
Yeah.
just because I actually don't remember what exactly you were supposed to say before. It's been over a year, so
We'll have to. I haven't watched them since we stopped doing it.
yeah.
So we'll have to go back and have a look.
If you watch our last episode, you will notice that we're still in the same clothes. We just had some food and we straight up are recording a second episode. We're keeping the ball rolling.
We are. We figured it's easier to do that than try and meet up more often. And it gives us a chance to hang out too.
Yeah,
Which-
you know, I didn't tell you. I was so excited when you told me about like, hey, let's record a podcast again. Because this was our chance before to be one, you know, whatever it went, like half an hour, 20 minutes, just 1 hour with each other, just talking mad shit.
So that's probably why I wanted to do it.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's a good reason to go and see Nelson.
exactly. It's a good excuse for us to make time for each other and just talk with
And-
no specific purpose.
Also, when we sell it to Spotify for like 100 mil,
Yeah,
that'll be
yeah.
okay too.
That will be fine. Yeah, we're definitely ready for that. Spotify, if you're listening, we're ready to take on that deal.
You haven't told everyone in that last episode about what's been going on in terms of that one, but your status in terms of this beautiful country we're in.
I actually haven't said that anywhere, and I think it will be fine to say it here because
No one watches it.
Yeah, exactly. Like not many people listen to it. So if you get to listen to it, you'll find out. Yeah, just mainly because I'm planning to do a big, well thought video of it. And for my main YouTube channel, which is in Spanish. So anyways, what happened was I got the best news of my life a couple months ago. And it was getting finally, after more than 5 years, a lot of sweat, a lot of money, a lot of tears, a lot of hard work. I finally got my Australian residence. Well done, man. Fucking made it. Yeah, a lot of people probably will think like, oh, what's the big deal about that? If you're an immigrant or you've been trying to get your papers here in Australia, you will know how hard it is. Especially as years go by, it just keeps getting harder, more expensive, less options. Obviously, right now, since COVID, it's been even virtually impossible for someone to get into even Australia in the first place. So I feel very fortunate. It is a life-changing thing for me. And it was always the goal. Since I first arrived in Australia, I remember being in Brisbane at a lookout, very popular, called Kangaroo Points, just looking at this beautiful city, being completely new in the country, coming from a place like Venezuela, where, if you don't know, it's very difficult life there due to the regime that is in control of the country, the inflation, etc. And coming new to this country where I get to start from scratch. Nobody here knows who I am, They don't really care. You know, I have to make friends. I'm a dentist, and I'm gonna have to find any job that I can to support myself, because I don't have that much money. I had I think it was less than 2,000 when I first got into Australia. Virtually no English, so I could barely communicate with people, you know, and somehow I needed to find a way to make a living here. So like, just fast forward now, looking back and seeing all the things that I've gone through, overcoming all the obstacles, betting on myself, and just, you know, putting all my eggs in one basket and trying to make it here. I sort of finally make it in a way. This is just like, it was the priority. Finally done. I earned my place here, and I really feel like I did. Like, I earned it. I paid in full. You know, not just in terms of money, like in terms of being a good human that is just doing. I'm an asset for this country. That's the way I see it. Like, they're getting one of the best humans they can get. It's not just a win for me. I think the way I see it is a win for everyone that lives in here. You know, like, I'm just supporting everyone, from economy, from being a good citizen to, you know, being a good friend, and I'm planning to make big things in here in the next years. This was just the biggest obstacle, and now, because I've been here for 5 years, next year, by the end of next year, I can apply for a citizenship, and then also getting an Australian passport. That will be the second biggest thing ever for me, because now I get to actually, you know, travel to many countries that before it was a hassle or very difficult as a Venezuelan. And also, it's the best thing that could have happened to my family. Like, now there are some opportunities for my parents to possibly come in the next years here. My sister, now that I'm established in some way here, I can start thinking more towards the future. Before, it's very difficult to explain, but it was kind of like just floating, being in a purgatory. You're not in heaven, you're not in hell. You know, I'm not in Venezuela, I'm not in Australia. I'm just here hoping that I will earn my place. Maybe one day we can talk a bit deeper of how, what was exactly all the process to get here and stuff. But for now, I'm just very grateful, and you know, knowing things, like even little things, like when I first found out, like, holy shit, I'll get to actually continue to grow my relationship with Sebastian, with Matty, with Beck, with Sinya, you know, with all these people that in the past years have become my family, because I don't have my blood family here. So you guys are everything to me, you know. And now knowing that these relationships will continue to grow until, you know, we're very old and we could barely walk or whatever it is, it's awesome for me. And knowing that eventually you'll have kids and I'll be there. I'll be the Uncle Nelson, you know, Sebastian. I think I haven't told you, he's about to be a dad in the next months, you know, like he's...
I think I might have known, because...
Yeah.
No, I did know. Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, I think for people that aren't exposed to it, like me, like I'm a privileged white boy Australian, the idea of grasping what immigrants have to go through to get into that place wasn't apparent to me until you came to live with me. And I probably knew you for like a year before that. And it's like, that guy's doing that visa thing, whatever. But once you were living with me, and we were talking about it a lot, it really was eye-opening in the state that you were floating. It was at the stage where you were on a visa that they were going to talk to you, like they said, like a year, and it had been 2 years. So you were waiting for a phone call to tell you to get out of the country almost. Like you didn't know what was coming. And it's hard to even relate. Like I can't relate pretty much. But until you can experience that at least closely firsthand like that, you can't really appreciate what it must mean to get that residency. So like when you told everyone that knows you properly, I got the residency, we're like, fuck yeah. Like we know what that means. So
yeah, It's honestly, and I notice as how I've been telling people, the closest people to me that actually had some idea of how hard I've been working for this thing and how much of a gamble this was, in the sense of, in my particular case, I was betting everything on a visa that if you tell to 10 lawyers, 9 out of 10 will tell you that there's no chance you will get that. And I just happened to cross paths with a lawyer that she is awesome. She is now, to me, she's like the closest thing to a superhero. Yeah, I did pay her to, do her job or whatever, but she did a great job. And I basically was waiting for 2 years to have one day a meeting with migration, which will determine the future of my life. That is very difficult to grasp and even explain to other people. Like, you are relying on a meeting where you have to explain who you are, what you do, all the Venezuelan stuff, and what are you planning to do in here, all these things. And someone else will make a decision that will either fuck you very badly, which will lead getting, kicked out of the country, back to Venezuela, all this stuff, or you will get your place here.
It's an immense pressure. How many people do you think just crack under the nerves and do a horrible interview?
That's the other thing.
It would have to be a lot.
I told you in the build-up to that meeting that first I didn't know when I was supposed to get the call. That could be any day. Obviously,
any
with
day
COVID,
for like years.
Yeah, it was over 2 years waiting for that call. Just being floating, like literally not knowing anything, asking my lawyer. She's like, look, no news, whatever it was. And then once I get the call, that doesn't mean like things are going great. That just means that things are moving forward. That now, okay, you need to step up into the interview and try to explain to someone that has no idea what it's like to be in Venezuela or all these things, to understand my position and then make an accurate decision for my life. It's very strange. And also, I think life makes no mistake. I always see it, man. Life literally makes no mistake. I don't believe in destiny, but I do believe that life has a weird way of helping people that know what they want. When you have a clear vision of what you want, you make that a priority. You put all the action, and you're patient, and you do good, and all these things. Life has a weird way to help you get that thing. There were so many little moments that I look back, and if I wouldn't, have been at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, I wouldn't have got that visa. And just a small one was, if I would have gotten this opportunity in the first 2 years that I was in Australia, I wouldn't have done a great interview, just because my communication skills weren't on point. And I'm not saying that my English is great. I think it actually sucks.
You're doing an English podcast, so it can't be that shit.
Yeah, I think it's decent. I think after 5 years, if it has got decent. There's still a long way for me to actually improve, which is also exciting.
Me too, brother. Me too.
You too. But yeah, it was nerve-wracking, being in the meeting. My lawyer is there, but she's not the one talking, like I'm the one that has to talk. And she asked me, like, do you want a translator? And I said no, because I know that translating, there will be a lot of things that will be difficult to translate. I'm giving the power to someone else to control my destiny. I'd rather be in control. And if I fuck things up, it's on me. But I did it after the interview. My lawyer, and that's the other thing. You do the interview and there's no clear response in the moment. Like, now it's just waiting. And I finish and I'm like, was that good?
You told me that, and you're like, yeah, I did the interview. I think it went all good. They said they'll call me in like within the next year. And I'm like, that's what they told you last time, and it was 2.5 years.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen here?
Yeah. So it's not like something that, okay, you work for it, you get the interview. This is your opportunity. Like Eminem, you know, if you got an opportunity, you're gonna let it slip, or you give everything. You know, you get the opportunity, but then just after that, you really wish you could have an answer, and that's not gonna happen. Now you go back home, you go back to your life, and now you wait for the definitive call. You know, so
Now it's all said and done. They can't kick you out.
yeah.
That's it. You're one of us.
I'm here. I'm finally here, which is freaking awesome. And so you will get enough of Nelson here in Australia for the next years.
He can stay here forever now. Good on him. So you can focus on other things like your relationship.
You're really put him in the spot, huh?
Yeah, look, this is pretty much just Nelson talking about what's going on in his life.
Yeah. I'm just gonna dodge the questions. What do you want to know? What do you want to know about it?
How does it feel having like an extra person in your life that you're able to share more time and more experiences with than anyone else you really have in the past? Like, it's not like me, who's your mate that you're there to talk to. It's a bit of a different sort of relationship that I don't know how much of that for this period of time you've had before.
Define a relationship.
Emotional connection with a single partner.
All right. Yeah, I guess I'm in some sort of that. Like, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure she's gonna be listening to this. I'm just gonna get myself in trouble here.
You might have bored her with all the visa stuff and she turned it off.
Yeah, hopefully she turned it off. She's like, oh, he's just talking about visas. I'm not gonna lie, it's very weird, and she knows it. Like I've tell it since day one. Okay, I've never been in a relationship. If you listen to some of our past podcasts, I think we talked about it. I've been single my entire life, so getting like accustomed to the idea of now I have someone here that, you know, I have to see. I'm not looking for anyone else as well, and you know, you have to think about things together, whatever it is, and
you don't have to, you want to, because you've chosen to let it happen.
Of course, but it's very difficult for me, and big side of me is just like, what are you doing? You know, like why you don't need that right now, or whatever it is. You're good by yourself. Just keep focusing on what you're doing. And big part of it is that she has played her cards so well. Like, she's really smart. She knows how to be a keeper. Because she honestly, she doesn't bother me. Since very early, I was also transparent. Like, hey, I'm not the texty kind of person. Like, I won't be texting you all day. I just text whenever I see the message and when I have time and whatever it is. And she has been flexible with that, you know, like we're not texting all day. We text whenever. And I think she has also like fallen into this kind of place as well, where she is not texting me all the time. She texts me whenever she has the time and whatever it is. And that could be maximum maybe 2 or 3 times in the day. And that's it. She lives in Brisbane, so that's over an hour and 20 minutes from here. So we just get to see normally once a week or maybe more. Recently, I spent like 12 days with her because my housemate was doing quarantine. And that was a little bit, you know, like, this could go very bad or well. And man, it was great, honestly. Like, there was no issues at all. We were, and also it was in the worst context, because you know when if I work from home mostly, and she can work from home as well, because she like her work right now is closed and all this stuff. She's working from home, so we will be 24/7 with each other. But I also didn't have all my equipment, so I couldn't be doing really that much work. That means we have to spend even more time together because she's also on vacation. So it was, when I tell you 24/7, it was literally 24/7. There's no way I can fart and she's not gonna be there. She's gonna poop and I'm gonna be there. You know, like all these things. And man, it was fine. Honestly, like we had a great time. And like I said, she's being very understanding of that.
I think when we used to speak about relationships in your single days, I think you had like this preconceived notion that a relationship was going to take, well, it will take more of your time, I guess, but it would detract from you, or that the person was going to be sort of taking from you with not too much on the adding side of things, or you saw it very much as like a barrier between what you wanted to achieve, more or less.
Yes.
And I guess you went into this relationship pretty open about that because you had, you know, seen that as an issue that you have in wanting a relationship. But maybe you just found the girl that was like, yeah, I don't like texting that much either, or whatever it might be. Like some girls are going to be different than other ones, right?
Yeah, she could be texting all day. If I was the kind of texting guy, she would 100%. But like she has made it she has been very flexible with me, you know, like and I still tell her, I'm sure you can get someone better than me. Like I don't think I'm the best option for you. I think I'm a great option, but maybe not right now. That's still the way I see it. I still think, and I've tell her like, I think you should leave me and go find someone that
I think your
that can
brain.
give more.
I think your brain's saying a different thing than your heart, though. What do you reckon?
Try to expand a little bit more.
I mean, like, it's been a while. It's been a hot minute.
A fucking lot.
Like,
I've never been with this long with someone.
I've seen
honestly.
you straight bail out of these things like real quick, and you don't really have much of a problem just like cutting it off and letting it go.
Yeah.
So there's, it's hard to explain. Like there's got to be something more there than what like I know what you're trying to say, in that like you still believe that you need to be conscious about it. But I think if you were that adamant that was that important, you wouldn't still be there. Like, why are you still there if you still think that's the case?
I'm clearly there, and I'll tell her, like, she's beautiful, she's hot, she's intelligent, she has a great job, you know. But like overall, she has a lot of great qualities to find any dude she wanted. But the thing that keeps bringing me to her, or that has made me stay this long, is that she's a cool human. Oh, that was cool. Fly. She's a good human. Overall, she's just a nice human, man. She's a nice person with good intentions, and that's what really matters to me. Like, she's flexible to be withstanding someone like me in this sense that she can't see me every day. She can't text all the time. You know, like, she's been really understanding and flexible with that. But overall, to me, she's an awesome, good human. And yeah, that's why I'm still there.
I'm very glad that you're happy, Nelson.
Yeah, I am pretty happy. But I wasn't unhappy being single.
Is it better? Well, it is. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it.
They're very different. Like, and there's no way for me, or at least at this stage, to say, yeah, being in a relationship is much better than being single. Right now, I'm still very new. Like, okay, it's been quite a few months, a lot, but still, like, there's not enough data for my brain or to me be like, yeah, this is either of these is better. Right now, it's just different, I think.
Sounds good. Let's do a 180 on the conversation. We were briefly talking a little bit at dinner time about social media. And coming into 2022, I always like to like change up my strategy, or just at least look at it in terms of what I'm doing for work, to make sure that I'm hitting all the latest trends and whatnot. And there's been huge changes in the social media world. The CEO of Instagram has come out and said, essentially, we are no longer a photo sharing app.
I did see that.
You saw that?
Yes.
So they've done a massive sort of pivot, and they're focusing on two things, and it's video content and it's teens. They want to get more teens onto the app. Teenagers.
Yeah, okay.
So they've obviously been able to copy and paste TikTok into the Reels format, but they haven't actually been able to take the culture of TikTok onto Instagram because that comes with the teens. And teens aren't using Instagram. So you're going to see like a lot of changes to things within Instagram. And he's hinted at so many things and said some of the things that are actually happening. Do you know they're bringing back the chronological time feed?
No, I didn't. I didn't read the full article. I just knew a little bit of the information.
You should follow him on Instagram because he just posts like updates to his own Instagram. Right. It's cool. They're bringing back, so the newsfeed's going to have 3 options. One's explore, so it's like the current one where they just show you whatever they think you want, and that's going to have more and more of stuff that you don't even follow them, but we know you're going to like it. Mm-hmm. And then they got chronological, which is going to go back into like exactly that in order of what people post. And a lot of people saying that's going to be a mess, right? Because we all follow like 1,000 people now.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to keep up with chronological. So they're doing a favorites, and you can like favorite your top 20 people.
So you're pretty much shadow banning or hiding the content of all that. We're in a tricky moment right now with Instagram especially. We were just talking about that, and there's virtually no chances of you blowing up unless you either come up with something very unique that when people see, they want to share it instantly. Like, it's that crazy.
Yeah, like one post.
Yeah.
But it's got to be like, you can't even imagine. That's how crazy those things are.
Yeah. Again, it's pretty difficult with how creative and accessible it is to make videos and create content right now to actually surprise an audience, like to surprise the market. Not really an audience, the market. So they can actually take the steps to share you and talk about you and all this stuff. Is very difficult. And you either do that if you're coming out of nowhere, or you start literally hanging out with the biggest people so they can share your account and you will, of course, grow with them.
Yeah, sort of in a bubble sort of thing. Yeah, it's just such a saturated space. Who was it? Someone from YouTube was talking about how many YouTubers earn over 6 figures. And it was like a couple 100,000 people are earning 6-figure salaries out of YouTube. It's like, that's a lot of people when you think of how big a channel has to be to pull $100,000 out of it.
Yeah.
And that's in ad revenue. So those people are going to be earning external streams of income. Yeah. So they're like, these guys are earning a lot of money, and there's hundreds of thousands of them.
Yeah.
I think YouTube is going to continue as like the biggest one.
Yeah, that's 100% still in 2022, and expect to be, at least for the next 5 years, the main platform where everyone still has a chance. Like, you still can make it big on YouTube. I've seen it last year, I've seen it the year before that, and this year will be the same. And I'm trying to do it for myself. Now implementing new strategies, trying to actually adapt and change a little bit the things how I've been doing it. But YouTube is the only place where you still have a chance to make it big if you're consistent, if you're patient as well with it, you don't give up with it, you try to niche out the things that you're doing, which has been the biggest mistake I've done in the past years with my content. If you look at any huge account, 99% of them are niched out. It's either a tech YouTuber, it's either a specific blogger, it's either a camera review guy, a makeup girl, a musician. They're all in their own niche.
And if they want to do something else, they have a different channel. Like you
exactly,
because if you're doing two things and someone that likes A doesn't like B, and you put out the B video and the A people don't watch it, the algorithm hates it.
Yeah, and that exactly, and that's the thing that for me and for many people, I think the reason why, because I consider myself a great creator. I think I make awesome content. I think I have the skills to make any idea I have and make it great, make it stand out. but you got to play the game, and I haven't been doing that. Playing the game means you need to feed the algorithm things that the algorithm likes, things that it will make it easier. You need to see it the way if you were YouTube. If I'm
I know.
YouTube,
I had a major fuck up at the very start of last year, and I didn't know what was happening. And in hindsight, it was so simple. I started a podcast for work, right? So we got a pretty good YouTube channel, 30,000 subscribers, and it's just consistent weekly or fortnightly videos, and it's all skateboarding or how-tos or tutorials or whatever it is. And then I decided I was going to do the podcast as well because it was more content on the channel. But I went from posting all 4 or 5 minute videos about skateboarding to half an hour podcasts, and only 10% of the audience would actually watch the podcast, which I was happy with in the sense that not a lot of people watched it because they got value. But YouTube went at it like all your subscribers hate you. That's what they saw. And then all my normal videos started dropping in views. So they remained the same, but just because I was putting other stuff on the channel, the whole thing bombed out. And it's taken me ages. I had to start a new channel. I had to start being more regular with that. And then like it was a whole thing to try and build it back up. And it's maybe after 3 or 4 months, just getting back to where it was. But yeah, you have to think as if you're YouTube.
yeah,
And I missed it.
yeah, that's the way, and not just you, like everyone, and it is hard to stay just within one niche because as a creative, and that's what I've been dealing with. Like it's, fuck, I want to make the video of surprising Matty and Beck, and I surprise my friends with X. I want to make the video talking about how these cameras change my life. I want to make the video of surfing. I want to make the video of why martial arts are important to me, but you really can't. Like you have to niche out. It's okay. Most people will try to do like one main thing, and then they have maybe 2 side things that they introduce every now and then. Like people know like, oh yeah, he's a tech YouTuber, but sometimes he does this or that. Like they know exactly what to expect. In a channel like mine, people don't really know. Like if I'm looking it from outside, I don't know what I get from this guy. Like I know he's good vibes. I know he's a cool human, but
He does a heap of shit.
yeah, like if I were to describe, and that was a hard realization for myself, like if someone was to describe my channel, what would they expect? It's not as simple to describe. It should be very simple.
It should be. And how hard that is compounded when you're not making it because you're like, I'm trying this, it's not working, I'm going to try this. It's not working, I'm going to try this. And you're just trying to figure out what's going to work. But when that goes against the formula of how it's going to work, it's very difficult because if you start niching out and you pick the wrong thing, what do you do there? What's the solution?
You're gonna pay for it. You're gonna definitely pay for it. If you start doing a channel, which happened to a friend of mine, he was a big, he was a gamer. He started making gaming videos, grew over 100K on YouTube, making money, sponsors, all these things, but he wasn't happy doing it. One day he just had enough and he wanted to make music. His channel virtually died. He had to pay for it. So for example, for me, I've been doing YouTube for 5 years now. It's a long time. And I've made over 200 YouTube videos. That's a lot of content. That's a lot of time. And I've learned a lot doing this. And I'm still far from where I want to get. Now I have better tools. I have better knowledge. It's just implementing it. But if I can give an advice to someone that is planning to get a YouTube channel started, or even you doing YouTube and it's not working, don't try to blame it on the algorithm. Don't try to blame it on, being unlucky. Because yes, luck plays a role. It does, because sometimes you just happen to be posting the right thing at the right time and that gets picked up by the algorithm. Nobody determines that. And, you go viral, you go huge and whatever it is. But for most people, that's not the case. You're going to have to grind it. And it's okay. I think when you start, don't put too much pressure on it. If you don't know exactly what you want to be making, try stuff. Because I have tried a lot of stuff in my channel, and finally, after 5 years, I'm starting to get a concept of what's the stuff that I enjoy, I want to make, and there's an audience for it. Because that's the thing. It's not just what you want to make, unless YouTube is a fun thing for you, that you're just doing videos so your kids will watch them or you will watch them with friends, whatever it is. If it's that, yeah, just post whatever it is. We're talking for people that want to try to make YouTube a way of living, like make money out of it. And in order to do that, you really need to niche out. And if you don't know exactly what you want at the beginning, what you want to be making, it's okay to start trying off. Just don't expect to be rewarded. Don't expect to grow or whatever it is. Just build the habit, because it is difficult to build the habit to be consistent with YouTube, to figure out what you want. Because you might see the bloggers traveling and stuff, and you're like, oh, that's exactly what I want to do. I want to get made. Try to do it first, because it's not as easy as it looks. Like traveling with camera gear to a place, with hiking a mountain with all your equipment, making sure everything survives, getting good content. After that, coming back down the mountain, editing, traveling. You're traveling with heavy bags. It's not as pretty as it looks on the video, So and that's not just. But this is just an example. Being a tech YouTuber will have a lot of obstacles as well. So just try stuff, and once you find what makes you happy, what people are consuming, and you think you can stick to that thing without going into many tangents, just focus on that. Bet everything on that, and you will find your audience, kind of thing.
Do you feel like you have any of those avenues sort of mapped out?
From the stuff I have seen on my channel, I've noticed that there are certain things that people keep coming back all the time, every time I post something about that. And it's always either like a motivational video or habits video, that kind of stuff. And I was like, but what's this? And I think the more I start to like look at it from outside, I think my channel will be something about human optimization. That's the way I'm seeing it. So what does that mean? That means that whenever you go to Nelf Life, to my channel, you can expect a video that will give you tools to become a better version of yourself. How does that translate on the content? I think it'll be mostly content of like, I read 10 books that changed my life. I love reading. I love sharing what I learned from my reads. That's something I can make, and I know I will be providing value to other people. These three lessons help me get financial freedom. Traveling to these 10 countries taught me this. I spent a day with a millionaire, and these were his lessons. This is what I learned of being an immigrant. So it's mostly...
It's sort of life coaching.
Yes. So it's sort of within that realm. I think that's my main thing. And I already have an idea for a second channel that I want, but I need to prove it for myself.
That's what I was going to suggest, because like, okay, you've made 200 videos. Let's say the first 100 of them were pretty shit, right?
First 200.
Based off what you've learned and all the gear you have now and how quickly you can turn stuff around, it took you 5 years to get to this stage. You could do a second channel and get it to this stage in months, really. Like if you really
applied the lessons.
If you found a niche, you did all the research, you mapped out the videos, you went hard at the start, you could essentially have this same channel within 6 months quite easily.
Yes. And the idea, this is the thing, the idea that I like the most and I definitely want to make, the problem is I haven't proved it for myself, which is I want a channel that is all about freedom, mainly financial freedom. I've been pissed at myself and about how the system works in the past, especially the past couple of weeks. How come we're not taught about finances in school, man? it makes no sense for me. You, from school, you should be able to learn how to open a bank account, how to save money,
There's so many things.
you know, how to do your taxes.
Have you seen that clip of Gary Vee when he talks to Alexa and he says, "Hey Alexa, who was the 17th president of the United States?" And it starts to tell him, and he's like, that is a reason you don't need to learn any of that shit in school. Anything that's based on memory that you can access within seconds with this tool we call a phone,
Yes.
you don't need to learn it.
Yes.
Like, give life lessons, give stuff that you can't access immediately, because all that stuff, it's like, why do you need to learn your maths to that extent when we have a calculator in our pocket? Did your teacher ever say that? You won't always have a calculator.
Yeah, classic. I think every teacher on the planet say that, and it's like, what do you mean? I do have it. It's between my legs right now, you know. Like, man, no, honestly, but especially with finances, like I'm actually really mad, not just at the system, but at myself. You know, why didn't I look for all this information that I've been learning in the past weeks, long time ago? Like I have friends that told me like, hey, do you invest? Do you do all these things? I'm like, no, I don't know how to do that. And we try to, as soon as people mention money, we run from that subject. Most people, like, we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to see what our expenses are. We don't want to, you know, like, understand otherwise, because we think everything is bullshit, and, you know, we shouldn't be putting our money, all these things, because we have the fear factor as well of no, what if I lose my hard-earned money? It's like, man, money, the more I study it, the more I realize it's about having a good relationship with it. Not fearing it, not thinking that you can't get it as well. Just changing the way you see it. That there is abundance, there is a lot of money out there to be earned for everyone in different aspects and areas of life. And that is up to you to educate yourself on how to get it, kind of thing. And providing value that eventually people are like, yeah, I want to buy that product. And that product can be knowledge, can be consulting, can be a physical product, can be a service, could be many things. But that will be the channel I want to make as soon as I can prove that I can make it.
Flip on that, because that's going to take a while to actually prove it, right? If you don't come in from a position of authority when you're telling people how to do it, and you come in as a position of, I don't know what I'm doing, like exactly what you just said, and this is my journey to figure it out.
Yeah, that's another option.
Then there would be a sort of growth through the channel, and whether it's like, I don't know, set yourself challenges. I'm giving myself 72 hours to make a business, and you get a Shopify site and you build it out and you do the graphic design and you make a little Facebook ad and you put $50 on the ad. Like, who knows if it's going to be anything, but you'll learn in the process of like
doing it.
Setting up the business. You'll make content that at least gets you started in that avenue. And then undoubtedly you're going to keep learning, and then you can give other lessons. And ideally some of the things will work, and then it transitions into a position of authority. And then it's like, when I started this channel, I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
You could do that instead of actually waiting.
Yeah, and I agree. Like, that's actually that would be like a different perspective that I'm happy we're discussing right now, because it could be a good idea. My head is just processing, and it's like, what if we do something like a channel that is from 0 to 1 million, you know, and we just share all the knowledge I've been learning in the past weeks of how to actually make wealth, you know.
Yeah. I don't know, read a book and then try and implement something like that in the real world.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to...
Great idea, Matthew. Good job. Yeah. I'm loving this conversation.
Well, that's what we're here for. We're not here... Sorry, we're not here for the viewers, guys. We're just, we're just here to have a chat.
Out, yeah. Yeah,
I mean, that could
I like
work.
that idea. I might actually start building a plan for that to see how it looks like.
Map it out, see what it looks like. And I mean, it's like you have everything you need to start it, run it for a month or two, and then flick it, get rid of it if it's not feeling the right way.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It could be the main channel for like that human optimization overall kind of thing, and then the other one is about freedom, how to actually figure out the freedom way, and you get to see the life example of someone that virtually has nothing. You're like, how to get it.
Give it. And if it's Man, I've been seeing these channels that are just talking like a lot of these guys that are talking about what social media is doing in 2022. They're getting like a lot of views, right? And they're direct to camera talking, not scripted, just talking about what they think. Zero production value. They got a nice light and a nice camera. There's no editing.
Yeah.
I'm like, these motherfuckers can punch out like 5 videos a week without sweating. So
And that's another thing. If you want to get into YouTube/content creation, honestly, the gear really doesn't matter. Like, it does to make things better, to give you maybe a chance to stand out even more. Because obviously you would rather see the guy that has the cool personality and stuff, but also has great audio, that has a beautiful aesthetic image when you're looking at the video that is pleasing to the eye.
you can get it good enough for cheap though.
Yes, 100%.
Like, you can buy, man, that lav thing I bought, give you perfect audio for $150.
Easy.
And that's like as good as it's ever going to need to be for YouTube.
Yeah.
So-
Man, a camera that has interchangeable lenses, and they're very cheap at this stage, and most of them even do 4K. Like, and we're talking
yeah.
less than $1,000.
Secondhand, man, you'll get them cheap.
Yeah. A light, you can get one. The one that we were using before this one cost what, like $150, $200 with a stand.
So cheap.
Very
Before
cheap.
that, I mean, you can go down to the local hardware store if you really have to. Like you can get something for $15 and it's better than nothing.
A camera, a light, and a microphone, and they can all be the very cheap of each one, and you can already sell a great product or provide a lot of great value.
Or just buy an iPhone.
Yeah, even the phone. The phones these days are great. Which, by the way, that's the last one, right?
Yep.
Is it any good? Any different?
It's very good. I'm pretty stoked on
I'm pretty
it.
happy with my 11. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
13 Pro Max, man. To be honest, I haven't used a lot of the features.
I think you won't.
It's
Like,
it's better. Like I'm putting up stories like every single day, like quite a lot. So I use like the wide angle and the extra zoom's pretty good, and it is a lot better in low light than my 11. Like I did side by side tests. That helps. I don't really use the cinematic mode like ever.
why would you? It takes so much space out of the phone.
It's looks good. Looks good for a story. Really, if you were bothered, you'd do it for a story, then delete it. But it's just I don't know. I always forget.
It's too much, honestly. And that's another thing. Now that we're talking all about YouTube and stuff, man, if you haven't learned how to make videos, take the time to do it, because video is here to stay for a long time.
That's gone are the days of photographers. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Photographers are going to be somewhat needed. But the crazy thing is you can't make it as a photographer on Instagram on the merit of your own work. The only way you're going to get noticed as a photographer on Instagram is if you're making behind the scenes videos, how-tos, before and after edit videos. Like, no one's going to look at your photo because it's Lightroomed and Photoshopped the fuck out. No one cares about a photo.
Goals are the day of photos, like, and you'll see the more you get into video, the easier it will get doing photos. You know, obviously, I'm not trying to make photography less than videography, because they're different worlds in a sense, but you realize that making a good photo takes a lot less work in a way.
For sure. I love photography. I'm a
like,
photographer in
yeah.
a lot of senses. But, man, it's easy. You point a camera and shoot, chuck it through Lightroom. It's going to look pretty good.
Yeah. Unless you want to actually be like an expert photographer, that there are levels obviously to the game, but honestly, if you're just getting started out, focus 100% on video and audio.
And video and audio, clean, fast content. Like you're not going to make a lot of money in the freelance game by doing those big things, or it's going to be harder to get to that level. But quick to market content is going to be the way of 2022 and 2023.
Yes.
I'm talking less than 20 seconds. Like, we're running 3-second and 6-second ads now.
It's crazy.
Can you imagine? Like, we're needing to come up with 5 different 6-second ads.
Yeah.
It's like that wasn't a thing
because
3 years ago.
if you don't understand why, it's because the attention
No
we
one's
have
gonna watch
these
it longer
days
than that.
is like a fish. A fish has more attention
Yeah,
than
so
us humans.
It's a 6-second ad, and we're tracking how many people watch it for longer than 2 seconds. That's like the level of how long people are going to spend on a feed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's wild. So if you can learn how to tell a story by a video in less than 30 seconds, that's like a super powerful skill.
And so we have to wrap this up, but just making a little summary of all this stuff that we talked about, especially within video. I think there could be some value for people that are thinking of getting into videos and stuff. Try to find out what's your niche, regardless of if you're thinking of doing IG, YouTube, if you want to have a side hustle or whatever it is. Focus it up, because this just not just applies to YouTube and all these things. This applies to a business. Like if you want to have an e-commerce and all these things, live the dream of working from home and making lots of money online, you need to find your niche. What's the market for that product that you plan to offer? Either a service, a consultation, a physical product. Find the niche for it. If learn how to make and edit videos is such an useful skill that is gonna stay for a long time. Don't forget about audio, just like podcasting. Audio it's gonna be huge for a while, because we're getting busier every year, and I'm doing it all the time. And you do it a lot when you drive. Like you chuck a podcast, you just start listening, because music now is more of a distraction kind of thing. A podcast, you're doing things while you're learning or just having a good time, whatever it is. Any more advice from you?
Well, I'm just going to do a quick shout out to live video. Live video is bigger than ever. It gets like a 30% higher engagement rate and watch time than normal content. So people are liking live, and the best thing about it is that it takes zero effort. There's no editing involved, and people are willing to take a lower quality, like they're willing to accept a lower quality of production. So you can literally film it on your phone. It can be a little echoey. It can be a little bit like blurry, whatever, that's in the data, and people are fine with it because they understand what live is. And it gives the opportunity for like real world interaction, like in real time. So live is going to be bigger this year than it's ever been.
Yeah. And coming back to the very first thing we talked about, man, if I can tell you anything to any person that's trying to earn their place on any other part of the world, or even here in Australia, or not even just that, like you're just facing a monster of an obstacle, because that was to me the way I saw getting my residence here in Australia. It was a monster that I wasn't sure how am I gonna take it? How am I gonna win this battle? The odds were against me in every way. A lot of people told me that I wasn't gonna get it, and even lawyers, which is pretty much the person that will coach me to get this thing. So honestly, just believe in yourself regardless of what is happening. Take a chance on yourself, stay positive, and just try to do good. But any monster can be beaten. You can really beat any monster of an obstacle that you have right now in front of you. It might take longer than what you hope or think, but just stay resilient, stay on the battlefield, and keep pushing through. And I can assure you 9 out of 10 times you will get it, because most people just give up. They just quit.
And that's the good vibes theory.
That's the good vibes theory. Also, if you're planning on getting in a relationship, don't do it. It's really not worth it.
She's definitely not. She's definitely not listening. 53 minutes in.
Yeah, she's not here. Where can people find you, Matthew?
They'll find me at a guy called Matty. Where will they find you, Nelson?
I'm at Nelfalife on every platform, and so it will be awesome if you give us a follow, and you can follow the podcast at The Good Vibes Theory, and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube.
Drop a comment
for sure. Let us know if you want us to speak of something in particular, or if you want to know anything other than that. We'll be just talking mad shit.
Hopefully we haven't even spoken about Jake Paul yet. All right, Done.
We'll leave that for the next
See you
one.
later, guys.
See you later. Goodbyes for everyone. You.